Hi, my name's Will, and welcome to the Distorted Transmission for today. I'm talking to Joel from Furious Cartel. How are you?
How are you, Will? Good to see you.
I'm good.
Welcome to Cartel headquarters here.
Is that actually in your house?
It is. This is my house, yeah. And my studio's in front of me.
You posted that you got a new Jackson's Kelly a few months ago, and there it is hanging on the wall proudly, separated from the flock as well.
Well, it doesn't fit in any other stand, so you got to hang it on the wall.
I thought it hadn't fully integrated into the family yet, and maybe he was on his he was sort of kept separate.
They get revolved around a lot. Every day I'm moving them around, playing different ones every day pretty much.
I've always been sort of interested in some of your guitars, like that Kamikaze you've got. You played that live a few times, and
Yeah.
it always stands out. Is that a sort of passion of yours, trying to collect all these cool guitars, or?
Yeah, I've just got them all over the years. So, like, I stumbled across that Kamikaze in a North Shore shop for $699 hanging on the wall with no case. And I knew straight away it was worth about $2,000 at that point. So I bought it on the spot. And then it turned out it's actually a prototype. So it's an ESP prototype from 1986. So
Sure.
it's made by a Japanese custom shop, and the graphics are literally hand painted on in Japan. So it's a pretty special one. I was lugging that around overseas. I can't believe it didn't get smashed or broken. And I was crazy. So now it's just pretty much retired now, that one.
It's beautiful.
Mm.
All right, well, I guess we should get on to the subject at hand. And so, first of all, intros, I guess, if you can introduce yourself, other members of the bands, that kind of thing, what people do, things like that.
Yes, I'm Joel. So I'm in Furious Cartel, and I'm the singer, songwriter, guitar player. And at the moment, I'm the drummer as well. And then we've got Bryce Wood on bass, who's an old guy from Subtract, who everyone would probably know, and Andrew Langsford on guitar.
I was going to get to him later, but Andrew did the mixing and the mastering for the EP that we're about to talk about as well, didn't he?
You're correct. So back in the day when Subtract first started, there was a band called Furious George, and Bryce and Andrew were in Furious George together. And they were kind of the number one band around Auckland at the time. They were sort of the men, and we were the little boys coming along and Subtract. And we were practicing next door to them in a big practice room. And then they split up and just went their own ways and disappeared. And Bryce ended up joining Subtract. So he's literally played with me and Andrew for years. I've played with Bryce for 20 years. So, yeah. And then Andrew, I sort of looked him up recently and just sort of discovered he had his own studio. I hadn't talked to him for about 15 years, and I discovered he had his own studio and had him up and said, "Hey, do you want to play some lead guitar?" And at this point, I was just doing my own solo thing called Anvil Hammer, which was just me learning how to produce my own music. I did everything on that: drums, bass, guitar, mixed it, mastered it, all just learning basically, and chucked it out. And that sort of set up the platform for this band. And so after that Anvil Hammer thing, which is kind of just like an SOD jokey thing, but it served its purpose, you know. And after that, I thought, right, I'm going to do something really good now, but I need to get some really good musicians. I can't do it by myself, you know, obviously. So I thought about Andrew from the past, and he was pretty much regarded as the number one guy back in the day. And so I hit him up, saw he had his own studio, and said, "Hey, do you want to play guitar for me?" And he was like, yeah. So I expected at that point he'd just rip out a couple of leads and send them to me, and that would be it, you know. And a couple of days later, he got back in touch. He goes, "Man, I really like these songs. These are really good. We could take these a long way. I think we should form a band, you know." And I was like, "Well, shit, okay, let's just get Bryce and let's just start." So I sort of just started to put the music together. I sort of do the drums. Once I discovered MIDI drums, my whole world opened up, to be honest. I found it so easy to write songs once I could do my own drums, and it took me a little while to master it, but now I've got it pretty good now, and I can just make my drums quite quickly, put my guitar on, write the songs quite fast. Then I sort of review them for a long time, sort of listen in the kitchen, see if I can make them a bit better. And once I'm happy with them, I'll just send the drums, my guitar, and my vocals to Andrew. Bryce doesn't even have to leave the couch. He just literally we just send him a blank track. I don't even tell him what to play. He just figures it all out, puts down these mean as killer bass tracks, send them to Andrew, and then Andrew does all the mixing and mastering, and he puts down his guitar, and his guitar playing is just so good, man.
I thought it was funny when you were talking about sort of like starting up the band, how you sort of like you approached Andrew about playing guitar, and then you just, as you put it, grabbed Bryce, and I just had this sort of this mental image of him just sort of like hanging up in the cupboard, ready to go, you know. So I just grab Bryce. There we go. Play the bass, Bryce.
He kind of was, you know. He's just sitting at home. He's just got his cool little life out in this little house in West Auckland. He's working on his movies. Subtracted all just folded, and we just gone our own way. So I knew he was basically just waiting at home. And as soon as I messaged him, he's like, "Oh, damn, cool. So I've been waiting for a project." And Andrew was the same. He's like, "Oh, this is awesome. It's exactly what I've been waiting for." So it's just they just needed someone just to give them some songs to play on, really.
Well, my next question kind of touches, like you've kind of answered part of it. Like you and Bryce were members of Subtract for about 20 years. And I got to know you about the sort of Talk Minus Action Equals Nothing album Time. That was an awesome album, by the way. Then, of course, as you mentioned, sort of the band split up in two factions. So like two of you went one way, two of you went the other way, and formed your own projects, Furious Cartel being yours. So what's it like sort of starting? Because, I mean, that band was around for a long time. You know, you supported Slayer. You supported Lamb of God. You did all kinds of stuff that sort of like an established New Zealand band can only really do. And now you're sort of back at the beginning, back at home, noodling on your guitar, thinking up new ideas, sort of potentially looking for a drummer, that kind of thing. What's it like having achieved all of that and then sort of finding yourself back sort of basically at ground zero?
So yeah, it's kind of interesting because I didn't even want to do music really. I would have given it away, to be honest, and I didn't have any interest in producing music because it always just bored me. People just sitting there for hours just listening to the same thing over and over. I'm like, oh man, that's not me, you know. And then, but technology is just so good these days that it just made it so easy for a chump like me to come along and put it all together and make it sound good. And that's pretty much what it came down to. With Subtract, things were so slow because you're working with other people all the time, and now with the technology, I can just do it right then and there and just get it all done so fast. So it really opened up a whole lot of doors that weren't available. They weren't open when Subtract was around. It was just the old school, you know. Even the way this band started, like we're recording first, we're working backwards, you know. So back in the day, you've got your mates, you get a band together, you go to your garage, practice some songs, do a gig, go on tour, and then maybe if you're lucky, you got to record, you know. And now we're literally recording for free and doing it all the other way around, and we'll be playing live last, you know.
My only piece of like worthless advice as a drummer is being a guitarist and writing MIDI drums, just be mindful that somebody might have to play it one day. Like sometimes guitarists get a little bit fucking carried away, and it's like the drummer's playing, you know, 320 BPM everything, and like it does put people off joining the band when everyone's like, Jesus Christ, that's pretty full on. So
Yeah, I don't think they're too complicated from what I've heard. I wouldn't be too fussed. The drummer wouldn't have to play it exactly the same anyway. Moving forward, we want to get a drummer, definitely, and they can take over the tracks, you know, and put their own style on them, because it's just my ideas at the end of the day, and I'm sure a better drummer would have way better ideas than me. So there's a lot of room for improvement with these songs, you know.
Let's say there is a drummer out there whose ears have just pricked up going, what? Band's looking for a drummer. I'm a drummer. How would they best get in touch with you to talk about that?
Well, just find us on Facebook, pretty much. You'll be able to message one of us. We've got a Facebook page, so you could easily contact us there, or even through our YouTube channel or Instagram. We've got all of that set up now. The EP came out on Friday, so it's early days yet. And like I said, starting from scratch, it's weird, you know. You've got like 30 followers or something. I think Subtract had a couple of thousand, so it's literally going all the way back and starting again.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll pick them up one by one and just pick up the fans. It's kind of easy these days to interact with the fans and find them. It's not like the old days where you couldn't even record. So now you can record and get it out there, and the tools are out there to get it out to people. You've just got to do it and persist and enjoy what you're doing, I suppose.
How's your feeling about the EP? Like quite often when bands bring out their sort of first offering, and this has happened to me in the past, like sometimes you can have reservations about it. It's like, well, this is as good as sort of I can be for the moment, but I'm sort of aspiring to be something better. Or were you like, did you spend enough time on it that you're actually 100% happy with it?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely killer. I think the way it's turned out is way beyond what I ever thought. Once I got the final mix and master from Andrew, I was just blown away, man. It sounds as good as anything out there.
Cool.
And like I said, we can get a real drummer. We're going to get better. Andrew, we can see he's just getting better now because he hasn't been playing a lot lately, and his solos are just so killer. So there's room for improvement. But yeah, I'm super happy with how it came out. It's a little bit more similar to Subtract, a little bit more, probably a little bit quicker on the whole, you know.
So what's in the pipeline for Furious Cartel going forwards? Like, do you actually have larger plans, or are you sort of like happy just sort of releasing stuff at home, keeping things chill, or?
Yeah, well, we've got the EP is out now, so people should go check it out. Hopefully drummers go check it out, and if they like it, they should get in touch. And we've got 3 videos coming up for each of those songs, so they'll come out over probably one a month over the next 3 months up to Christmas. We'll just push this EP, and at the end of the year, we'll just think about what we're going to do next year. I think it'll either be an album or another EP. I've got like 2 albums worth of material already written, ready to go. So the next album's just about already written, and they're working on it now, the guys. So it'll definitely, something will come out next year, and we need to find a drummer so we can play live.
Right.
As far as world domination or anything goes, there's so many bands out there now. It just feels like, yeah, 1 in a million.
Billion, probably, yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. You just got to chip away and just do your thing, don't you? So that's what we'll do. We'll just chip away. We'll definitely put out something next year, and it'll be even better. It'll be killer because we're getting better all the time. So yeah, if anyone finds us, like us, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, Furious Cartel.
Cool. All right, Joel. Well, thanks for chatting with me today. Yeah, best of luck with everything, and I hope you're enjoying your Jackson Kelly.
I am.
Maybe I'll speak to you next year when you've got the whole lineup sorted out and you're out doing gigs. And
yeah, we'll get the whole band on here because they'll have their own stories and be able to rab it on.
Maybe you can get Bryce out of the cupboard and get him to tell us some tales.
Get him off the couch. Yeah, he'll do it.
Cool. All right. Well, say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, everybody. Thank you.
And thanks for watching.